Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into another episode of ToniApproved. On today's episode, we will be discussing Lil Wayne's new album, The Carter 5. Now, I'm not that big of a huge Lil Wayne fan, so I definitely wanted to make sure that we get some authentic opinions on The Carter 5. When you guys are hearing from me, you're going to definitely be hearing from somebody who, basically loves music. I took a listen to The Carter 5 because I do know that it's been a minute since Lil Wayne has released a new album, and there's been a lot of anticipation behind the album, The Carter 5. And it's going to be cemented into the culture as well. So all of my opinion would just be coming from a music lover, someone who's listened to the album from those thoughts. I do have two co-hosts on today for this episode. I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
It's your boy Reese the Wise behind the mic, checking in. I really appreciate my brother reaching out and inviting me to ToniApproved. I'm a viewer, I'm a watcher, I'm a fan, and so I felt it a huge honor to be invited on. Huge Wayne fan since middle school, going back to 05, but even going back further than that, you think about Cash Money back in the 99 and the 2000, I'm a huge Hot Boy fan. So we know that's where Wayne got his, step into the game, got his foot, off the porch. And so to see him come and drop another Carter and be able to, give my thoughts and opinion on that, hey, huge honor, and I appreciate my brother sending out that invite.
Yo, and it's your boy Wayne, one half of We Be Untitled. Yo, I'm just here, supporting my brother, ToniApproved. Also a huge Wayne fan. Kind of the same sentiments as my homie Reese here. So we gonna, I guess, jump right into it.
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
Okay, so I have 5 questions for you guys, and they're just based off. So just to let you guys know, we've all listened to the album. We've listened to it in completion. It is 23 songs. And we're just kind of gonna go from there. Okay, so question number 1, you guys. Are you guys happy with the album, and how many stars would you give it? Now, for me, I personally would give the album 3 stars. And the reason why I would give it 3 stars is because I feel like it's a nice album. Like, I can really bump to it. I don't think I personally would listen to it on an everyday basis. I think whenever I'm traveling, going somewhere, I'll listen to it. I don't mind listening to it with, other people. Mm-hmm. And I'll probably have a couple of songs off the album that I listen to on a regular basis. So I think I would give it a 3.
With all things considered, it being a Carter, so I'm holding it to another caliber of Wayne albums. You know what I'm saying? I understand that, he has 13 albums in total. The Carters, for me, sit on a whole nother caliber of, when Wayne drop an album. Out of 5, I would give this one a 3.5. And and I would say that, and it's a strong 3.5. Almost, leaning towards 4. The only reason why I wouldn't give it a 4 is because, like you, I feel like it definitely has a lot of substance when you look at the content, as far as the fact that he opened up on this one, and it seemed like he was doing some venting on this one. And then you look at the features, I can live with the features. So I like the features. I like the fact that, he had almost not his feelings, but he had himself open to just kind of let us know what was going on in his mind and in his heart while he was doing this project. But I don't think it's enough. It got bangers, but it's not enough bangers to where I would give it that strong 4.
Really? I don't know. I would have thought you would have given it a 4.
But in the way he delivered within the verses, it's definitely Wayne. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the whole album as a whole. So when we're talking about the whole album as a whole, it's certain things that I'm looking for. And with that question, I would say a 3.5.
Okay. Kind of hard for me to. 1.6.
Yeah. Because when you look at it, and you gotta think, it was 23 tracks long. So that in itself, in and of itself, I had to listen to 23 tracks of it.
For me to give it, I want to give it like a 4, but that is kind of like.
So should the track listing play to the fact that it's 23 songs playing to its rating? Like the rating of the album?
Okay.
Because if that's the case, then I would have to bump mine to 3.5. And the reason why I say that is because it's a solid album with 23 songs on it. True. And I didn't personally hear a lot of filler tracks, and I don't really listen on a regular basis. I mean, I don't, I'm not a major Wayne fan.
Well, see, mine, I guess mine would be more so how it was presented a little bit, just because I know it's difficult to digest 21 songs. I almost kind of wish it was like broken up into parts, but at the same time, it's classic Wayne to get that many songs on an album. So part of me is not necessarily upset with that, but at the same time, I know what the times are. I don't know. That was difficult. I don't know if how heavy the sports is held against stuff like that.
With it being 23, I think there are probably 3 or 4 tracks where I was like, that I could have continued to listen to the album even if they weren't on the album, and I wouldn't have missed them per se.
Okay.
But like bruh said, that's Wayne to give you some length on the album. Even if it's not necessarily 23 songs, he gonna give you a strong 15 at the least, so I can go for that. But with it being 23, I can say, okay, for me, Uproar, Mona Lisa, I like the Open Letter, probably 7 or 8 of them is where I'll be like, okay, yeah, those the bangers. So for 23 tracks to be on your album, and then I say, okay, you got 8 bangers, you're not even at 50% for me. So I would say that 3.5 when I'm looking at the overall picture. Okay. I think, like bruh said, maybe if you would have gave it to us in parts, or you would have scaled down, on the amount of tracks you had, then 8 wouldn't have been so bad compared to a 23. But that's not to say that bruh don't have other good tracks on the album. I'm just mean jaw open the whole, track type album. I mean, excuse me. Jaw open the whole song type tracks on the album.
Okay.
Now, on bias scale, I'll probably go like 4.5.
Yeah.
Now, what
that's
saying,
weighted.
My thing,
you know how you have that unweighted GPA, and you got that weighted GPA. That's the weighted GPA. The Wayne fan in me, and I like that you said that, because it brings out a good point in that when you look at, again, the body of work, which is the Carter, and this being number 5, when you look before 5 and you see 4, as a Wayne fan, you're disappointed, or at least I am. I can't speak, on behalf of all the Wayne fans, but I can say for myself, with Carter 1, 2, and 3, if I put in that album, there are certain songs that I have to listen to on that album. I cannot take that CD out without listening to those songs first. There's probably one song on the Carter 4 that I probably be like, all right, because it's in, I'm gonna listen to it, and that's the outro. I mean, and I'm being dead serious, and for me, that's a letdown, because again, the Carter is really what began to cement you as the best rapper alive. That he does have that quote title. And that motto that you use, you got to come with it when you put the Carter behind it, because that's what you did with Carter 1. Turn around, that's what you did with Carter 2. Carter 3, I mean, to me, of course, the Carter 1 and the Carter 2 is debatably, the best Carters. But the Carter 3, to come as a mature, older Wayne and still giving you straight dope, to me, I really enjoy the Carter 3 as a whole. Not just, certain songs, but as a whole. Carter 4 was a total letdown. Total letdown when you're talking about the body work as a Carter. So I'm impressed, and I appreciate that you came back. And you came back tapping into a classic Wayne, but also a more mature Wayne that has grown and has kind of endured some things here recently. So I was pleasantly surprised with the Carter 5.
And see, my bias comes from the fact that I get what you're saying with it being a bit of a letdown, but the other portion of it is listening to Wayne, knowing the fact that my thing is he's still, like, even when he wasn't at his best at times, he still tried, and that's a thing that we don't always get from artists. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like it's kind of a flip side because one, it's risky. You can go ahead and like waste everything, but at the same time, if you're talented, like it's gonna come back. And then sometimes I don't know. Like I feel like there's other artists out there that have hit that top of the game moment, and then they have
that's their peak.
And then it's almost like a kind of like finding what that new wave is, and you're still putting out music because there's still music and vibrations that's going through you, but other people not really gonna understand it because it's not like so into the moment, like flash into the moment. And see, now I feel like the Carter 4 was trying to be trendy for its times, and then this album isn't necessarily trying to be trendy for its times. It is in parts, but even with that album length and stuff like that, like it's not necessarily taken apart into the trends. And again, my biased portion of the 4.5 also would be because when I'm listening to a Wayne album, I do understand that he's trying to give us his personality over an extended amount of time. And there's been more than one Wayne project where I could have maybe not done without a song or skipped through a song. Yep. So I'm, I guess, used to that to a point. I don't know if that necessarily
takes anything away from
if that takes
that's
necessarily
Wayne.
exactly.
If you know Wayne,
you know what I'm saying, and you kind of get it.
Enjoy his music.
You know the
history, and
you
know that's Wayne.
Yeah, exactly. I happen to be a person that enjoys that just because of where I came into the music, I guess.
All right.
Figuring out what Wayne was and stuff like that. At least my perception.
Yeah, and I get that. And just kind of really going back to it really quickly, like you said, as far as the Carter 4, it was, I guess, for its time, but, you know, for me, I don't want the best songs on the album to be the singles. Yeah. Because then I've already heard it, it's played out, and then what else do you have to offer? And I feel like the Carter 5 delivered a lot of singles, you know, for the radio, but it wasn't, you know, to me, in my opinion, Carter worthy. I feel like that could have been something with another album title, and still would have been Wayne, still would have been in his way, like you said.
For the Carter 4.
Right, but just not titled Carter. Don't put that in the Carter category. But it is. But and we got to move forward from there. But
no, we're good discussion because it actually goes into
going into that history of the Carters.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? It is a Carter. You can't deny it. And we just got to move forward. And I think he did a good job in doing that with the Carter 5.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess
bounce back.
Yeah, and speaking of bouncing backs, if we were wrapping it up, we did make a good point earlier too when we was talking about the fact that he didn't stick every landing. I think that's really what it was. And the thing about Wayne, like once you show us that you can stick like about a dozen landings in a row, bro, we'd be like, oh snap, you gonna stick another one, man? You gonna stick another one? Yeah. You know, he don't stick the next one, you'd be like, all right, you know, brush him off, you gonna get another. Yeah. But at the same time, it do hurt a little bit to watch him like hit the ground. Yeah. Like, damn, bro, we just like you stick like two.
And that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? Especially for those, you know what I'm saying, those listeners and those fans of Wayne who are in that mid-20, early 30 age range. They are, if they've been riding with Wayne from the beginning, they have taken this album, you know, not even before he got his own album, just him with the Hot Boys ride, to him having his own album, to, you know, he take a break from the albums and then drop mixtape after mixtape. And you're used to, you know, hearing straight dope rocks from Lil Wayne, and to the point where you too are arguing and defending that no, he's the best rapper alive. You know what I'm saying? So as soon as he delivers something that's not best rapper alive title worthy, you're like, hold on, Wayne, hold on, Wayne. I can't defend that no more, Wayne. I can't defend that. Hold on, Houston here, we got a problem. You know? So that's when you're like, okay, all right, I'm waiting for it. Because I know it's still in you somewhere. I know, you know what I'm saying? And you proved that with the Carter 5. It's there. You know?
And actually, I'm just kind of jumping
into it. No, you're good.
Jump in
you're
real
good.
quick.
It's
With
your
the next,
show.
Yeah, but now with the next question, I ain't saying it like that, y'all. Don't make me laugh. Okay, so with the next question, because the next question is actually, do you think that the Carter 5 lived up to the hype and the legacy of the previous albums, which I feel like you guys have already kind of answered that question. So do you guys want to further elaborate in any ways on how this particular album actually lived up to the legacy of the Carters?
Sure.
So it won't be like a letdown like the Carter 4, if some people feel that way.
Yeah. I think that the Carter 5 definitely lived up to Carter-worthy status. I do. When you look at how he and you know, we talked about a little bit earlier in this episode that, you know, the Carter 4, in my opinion, was that letdown. When you look at the Carter 4 compared to the Carter 5, or you look at the Carter 5 compared to 1, 2, or 3, you see some similarities within 1, 2, and 3 that you don't see with 4. You can compare 4 to any one of those, you know, 1, 2, 3, or 5, and see that, okay, yeah, it's lacking, you know. One thing that I like that he did in the Carter 5 was going back to, you know, the skits and having people to talk and have some type of dialogue. What I particularly like in this one is the fact that we get to hear from Mama Sita. You know, this is a first for us Wayne fans. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We hear about her a lot. We hear a reference, but to have her not just be on the album, but to open the album up, you know, and then it go from, you know, hearing from her to him just opening up to where he is currently. And I think it spoke volumes that you had XXX, you know, on the first track as far as the actual song, because I think that kind of had the feel and the theme of the album cemented, you know. So you kind of went on this journey or this ride for the album and it's in and of itself, you know. And then for, you know, the ending song of the album to be Let It All Work Out, you know, that it end let it all work out. It is what it is. Let life happen. Like my grandma say, just keep living, baby, and it's gonna work itself out. So it was definitely a ride. And when you look at specifically like the Carter 2, how he gave you the intro into the house and then he walked you out the house, you know what I'm saying? It too was this ride. The Carter 1 was a ride. The Carter 3 is a ride. So I like that he went back to that. I also like, particularly with the Carter 5 and it being what I expected from a Carter, the delivery and the type of punchlines and the stories that he were giving you. When you think about an older Wayne and you think about particularly, what song is that? I ain't never killed nobody, I promise, but I promise if you try me, we gonna have to rewind this track and make me go back. That thing will go back. That boy a lay flat.
Ain't it crazy I can't even help out?
Yeah, and I'm telling you, Hustler music. I'm tripping. Hustler music.
Bro, what?
Hustler music. You know what I'm saying? That's a classic. You know what I'm saying? It tells a story. It takes you on this journey, and it too ended up being a single that they actually used. But before it even being a single, and you look at the setup of the song in and of itself, and then you look up the setups of similar songs on, and not even so much the sound when I say similar, but the painting of a picture, and that being the theme of the song and the track itself. You see that in 1, you see that in 2, you see that in 3. Like I said, I don't see it so much in 4. So if you see it in 4, please share it with us. You know, down in that comment section, go ahead, let us know, you know, where you see those comparisons, because I'm not perfect. It's just my opinion. But in 5, I see that again. And I think we're going to get into a different segment when it's going to ask us, you know, what our favorite tracks are and why. So I'll save that, you know, for that part. But yeah, I definitely think that it was Carter worthy. And I was, like I said, pleasantly surprised. And I didn't mind listening to 23 tracks of it. I didn't mind listening to 23 tracks of it. So, yes, sir. Yes, sir, to you, Christian.
Why, Angel? Do you feel that the Carters lived up to the Carter 5 legacy?
Oh, the Carters.
The Carter 5.
See, now my thing is the reason why I was struck with Hustler I remember the singles. I remember like Fireman also as well and stuff like that playing when I was in. I want to say I had to be elementary school for me. But I really started listening to Wayne's music before the Carter 3, but after the Carter 2. So, yes, it lives up to the Carters for me. I had to go back and listen to the Carters, so I didn't necessarily get to listen to them like when they first came out. Well, I didn't get to listen to them when they first came out, basically.
Okay.
To actually get like the full feeling.
But I see
everything like that. But and see the reason why I say that. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna cut you off. You're saying something.
Well, no, because I was just gonna say, and I want you to lose your thought, that I feel like that's how you really know if the music's good or not, or the standard of it. I think the only thing you miss out on when the album comes out is the hype that's added to it. And most of the time, if you really like something, you really enjoy the hype. But if the album and music is really good, it'll still affect you, but it'll just affect you in that time, and you'll be the only one affected, and you missing out on the hype. That's the only thing you better not miss.
The only thing that's different about Lil Wayne's hype is his hype was kind of like this one-of-a-kind thing for a long time in his career. And even when I ask people about those times, like the way it's kind of explained to me is that it was people more so getting to watch Lil Wayne grow up in his career and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? To make those transitions out of the Hot Boys and stuff like that. That's technical. I mean, it's like it was a rap group. It was, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it wasn't really any. What I mean, was there other rap groups like?
I mean, well, when you look at the South, you got Outkast, you got Goody Mob.
No, not. I mean, more so like with kids their age.
No Limit Soldiers. They set the record. They set the blueprint. They laid out the plans for a Cash Money.
But nothing.
You know,
anything
location,
other than that,
the type of sound, you know, the content of the music.
Yeah.
You know,
but it wasn't
no
anything other than that though. It was just. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, you can go back if you want to go back a little bit basically. I mean, if you want to go to the West, then now we're talking NWA. I mean, so it just depends on where you look.
What we're talking.
It depends on what you're looking at.
I'm more so. I guess in that time frame, then how about that? For the feeling that they were given.
Okay, I was gonna say with the feeling. Yeah, I was gonna say, what about your Wu-Tang Clan?
It wasn't necessarily. I'm not saying are there any. The question that I asked was wrong. Not is there any other rap groups? Okay, the better question would have been, was there any other young rap groups with that feeling coming out of the South? Really in that time, making it kind of their own thing. That's what I'm
not
saying.
That feeling,
I wasn't
because
necessarily onto that, so it was a little bit of a miss out for me as far as the first Carters is concerned. So I didn't get to ride that wave of hype. That's all I'm saying is that was a different wave of hype. And I guess I could have worded that one a little better, but that specific portion of it was a different wave of hype. Of course, I know there's other.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say, especially with the Hot Boys, early Waynes, when you look at The Block Is Hot, 500 Degrees, those albums, you had Manny Fresh. So that sound, no would be the answer to that question, because Manny was the one producing that sound for that time, and there was nobody doing it like him at that time. But
everybody started doing the rolling drums. But
yeah, but that's the only thing they could buy. I would say, as far as the point that Tonio was making, Tony, I think you're right when you say that the hype doesn't have anything to do with the work and the piece.
Yeah.
You can miss certain things.
Exactly what you mean by that.
You know what I'm saying? You can miss certain things about not maybe growing up in that area and maybe not experiencing that. For example, you have a lot of us 90s babies who we were here, but we really wasn't old enough to remember vividly and details and being on the ready to hear the updates about Tupac and Biggie.
Yeah.
And what was going on in their beef and the music, and you know what I'm saying? But it was very relevant, and so much so to the point where their music still stands not just true today, but it is art. So we know that with any art, it only gets better with time. Yep. It should only get better with time if you truly have piece. And so I think that it's important that you go back and you listen to something after the hype has died down. Because it's easy to fall into the crowd. It's easy to just go ahead because that's what's on the radio, that's what everybody's listening to, that's what everybody's talking about. You know, you can have people, especially now with social media, they're referencing certain parts of the song as comments, and you're like, okay, I didn't even know that was a part of that song until I heard the song. And so now things are a little different. I think it's very important to be able to go back and listen to a piece and say, hey man, you know, that College Dropout, that's a classic. You know, hey man, you know, that Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, that's a classic.
Yep.
And you do get those feelings, and I guess we technically not weren't around, but like weren't older.
There for the hype. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And again, and I still do like, and I still like Wayne's music, even though I wasn't necessarily there. I was there for the super wave hype, don't get me wrong. I just wasn't there for the beginning stuff. That was the only thing that I was kind of saying. Now, to answer your original question, though, how I think it stacks up in the Carters, again, with me missing the portion of the hype, it's a little bit difficult for me to answer that one. The way I look at it, though, is that the Carters kind of got better as they progressed, with the Carter 4 kind of being just a question mark. That's really all that it is. But that is a great thing, though. Like, I feel like that doesn't always happen. I guess we don't necessarily have a ton of other, like, volumes to compare it to. But it's a good thing as well, as far as, you know, like other artists putting out volumes.
Yeah, that's what I said, true. Yeah, that was a good point.
But it does get better, you know what I'm saying? It gets better over time, which is dope, which is definitely dope. Yeah.
And then, you know, when we look at other rappers, and again, this is when the perfect time for the fans to go out and drop them albums. Correct us when we're wrong. If we're wrong, drop them albums in the comment section. I don't know, and I can't necessarily call too many rappers that have a cemented album legacy, such as the Carters. I mean, I know Jay got the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? You know, you have certain right, and it's not, the thing is, it's not even about so much longevity, but it's more so about the fact that people know that album title to hold a certain weight. So when you continue that album title and say, no, nigga, this is the blueprint too. You know what I'm saying? This ain't nothing else. I'm continuing the blueprint.
To be the blueprint, bro.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? That speaks volumes. That lets us know that as an artist talking to his true fans, or to those who want to listen and maybe have heard that previous album, I'm bringing something that, you know, is to the caliber of what you've heard before. And usually they don't, you know, artists don't usually continue something that sucks. I mean, that's just serious. You build upon a legacy. You don't continue something that's subpar. You continue something that is legendary, you know? And that's what separates the goods from the greats.
Okay. Now, when it comes to Lil Wayne, sometimes I've heard, and this could be applied to other artists as well, that his lyrical content has begun to slip a little bit when it comes to his subject matter and things he talk about in his music, at least before this album kind of came out, and possibly before he started going through his whole situation with Baby. So with this album now, were you guys satisfied with the lyrical content and the features? I know Reese, you was talking about it earlier as far as having XXX Testosterone on the first track. I know with me, when I first heard the album, I actually had the reaction that you said. When I first heard the album and heard who was featured on the that track and the way it sounded, I was like, okay, it's setting the tone for the album. This is what I kind of expect. I wasn't a major fan of XXXTentacion's music before his passing, unfortunately, but I can kind of get a vibe of his feel of music, and I think it matched Lil Wayne enough to have a feature and to kind of open the album. I like the fact that he had him featured on there as well, also because I know the Carter 5 is going to go down in the culture and it's going to be cemented, so it's nice to have him attached to the album. Felt the same way for his his speech for Obama at the end of Dedicated, when he added that into it. That's nice that you know, once again, giving a nod to Obama. We have to make sure we keep, you know, I like the fact that we love to reference him in the culture, you know, as, you know, being our first black president.
And to mention that, you know, we don't need a whole lot of Lil Waynes. You know, we don't need a whole lot of the next generation trying or aspiring to be rappers or, you know, quote unquote gangsters, even if Wayne isn't living that which he speaks of. It's motivation that, you know, he too understands that that's not what it's all about. So I just kind of wanted to add that in. That was a good point, bro.
Oh yeah, no problem. And then even I like the fact that we've been having this debate a little bit. We had it off air. So here's my thing. Okay, hold on. I liked his song with Snoop. I like that song. I liked it for the West Coast feel, and I think it was just a real smooth track. We have been having this debate between the song with Nicki and the song with his daughter Ray Janae. And I personally feel like with him having Nicki on his album, because she's a part of Young Money, and based off of the sound of the album and the songs that pick up, like Mona Lisa sticks out. His song with Snoop sticks out. I feel like because it's Nicki and she's so close with him, his song with Nicki should stick out. And I think Dark Side of the Moon was a nice song, but I don't think it stuck out as much as Famous did with Ray Janae. But with Ray Janae, as I was saying, even though it's acceptable, it's very clear that Ray Janae was using auto-tune on the track. So it's just like,
I mean, Nicki was probably using
okay, so this is my viewpoint on that.
and I like auto-tune.
I mean, I don't have a
because
problem
I don't
with
have
it
an
because
issue
it has a
with
nice
the
sound, but
auto-tune.
I'm just saying, like,
Because technically, I would prefer if you know that you don't sound good when you just step on the mic and you know,
Mix it up, right?
yeah, make it sound good. Now,
But I think I'm
Now,
holding
when I
her
say
to
that,
it.
I don't mean chop and screw it. I don't mean you hop on the pianos or the producer hops on the pianos, whoever mix and master your joint, have you singing like Hugh Whitney when you know you sound like Bobby. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is make it art. Make it you. You know, if it takes auto-tune, I understand what auto-tune is. As a musician, as somebody who loves music, as somebody who plays music, which I play the trumpet, I can live with you making it sound good for the ear and understanding what's going on rather than you selling me a lie. I know what auto-tune is, and I can live with that, you know. When it comes to that debate, because we did have that debate, and
hang on one moment. I wanted to add in one more thing. The other reason why I think I hold Ray Janae to that standard is only because she's his daughter, you know. And I would assume that you wouldn't have to technically use the auto tune if you're Lil Wayne.
But at the same time, Wayne don't sing. Wayne don't sing. Wayne raps, and she wasn't rapping.
But y'all was saying that Wayne is the best rapper alive, so I would assume that he would have his daughter apply those. Yeah.
Nah.
You don't think Wayne is the best rapper alive?
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
At this moment,
to have.
No, I'm just saying, like, he at one point held
I
that
think-
standard of could possibly be called the best rapper alive.
Yes, I do believe that,
So
but that's
that
not what
should
I was
apply.
saying. What I was saying was just because Reginae is Lil Wayne's daughter does not mean that automatically she's just blessed with some type of talent. That's what I meant.
True.
Especially in that Lil Wayne raps and does not sing. You know what I'm saying? And from what I heard, and again, correct me if I'm wrong in those comments, I didn't hear her rapping. I heard her more so singing, or trying to harmonize. If not sing, harmonizing. So, nah, I wouldn't hold that against her as far as the whole auto-tune thing. Because again, we don't know what she sounds like outside the auto-tune. You can't sound like a hot mess and use auto-tune. You still have to have some type of composure, have some type of control of your voice. But at the same time, when we're going into that whole title, as far as since we were going there, I do not think that Wayne right now currently holds the title of Best Rapper Alive. And I can say that solely off of opinion, number one, but number two, off of growth and maturity, in that when I was first, I still am a Lil Wayne fan when it comes to him putting out quality music. You know, when he putting out foolishness, that's something different. I'm one of those fans who will call a spade, no matter if I like the artist or not. So when he's putting out quality music, I don't mind standing behind Wayne. And in this case, he did that, but I won't give him the title of best rapper alive because now, like I said, with growth and maturity, when I first became a Wayne fan, I was a child, and I thought as a child, and I acted as a child. And now, in having growth and having more understanding of just reality and life as a whole, I know that when we talk about content and what we talk about depth, Wayne doesn't have necessarily a lot of that. You know, he can allude to certain things and he can talk about certain topics, but right now, best rapper alive, mainstream. I'm not talking underground. I'm not talking battle rap. I'm talking about mainstream. In my opinion, I would give it to Kendrick Lamar K. Dot.
Kendrick Lamar.
That's my man. That's my guy. He has a lot of substance, but he also can take you on a journey. He can tell you a story. He can share some of his testimony. You know, he can share his experience, which again, I guess would go into his testimony of kind of growing up in this relatable place called the hood, or you know, better known to him as Compton, but it's a Compton in every city. And so with that being said, in my opinion, again, perfect time to drop that in the comment who you think the best rapper alive right now at the current moment. Who that is. Go ahead and do that for us. But yeah, I wouldn't give him the title as best rapper alive, but I do believe at one point Lil Wayne did hold that. And I do believe that his resume sets him far apart from other rappers when it comes to the number of albums he's dropped, the number of mixtapes he's dropped, the sheer amount of music that he has. Yeah. So it depends on what we're talking about now. It depends on, you know what we're talking about in that moment.
I think the mindset kind of changes a little bit just because like the older you get, some of us become more political, and I think we happen to be a bunch of kids that became more political. So it's a little difficult to put you in my top rapper just because you're not super political, but at the same time, Wayne's I don't necessarily agree when people say that he doesn't have depth. I think it's just the fact that Wayne's music, a lot of Wayne's music is about him. So I also like the fact that and maybe a little bit before now with this album he does at least open up a little bit more about like, you know, what he's going through with some of the stuff that he is going through, you know what I'm saying, more so than in other albums.
So do you think it plays into the lyrical content? And
so
both of y'all can
in that regard, yes, but also lyrical content has so many different contours to it. Like you know what I'm saying?
Subjective.
Like it's how you flipping them bars and
well, okay, so let's compare it. Okay, so let's compare it to that.
First off, Wayne had the best technically similes that was called metaphors for the longest of time. So it's a little difficult to already start comparing that stuff because it's like, bro, first off, a lot of y'all don't know necessarily the verbiage for real. And then,
well, no, I'm talking in the form of the question. I'm really more meaning towards just Lil Wayne. Like we're only comparing Lil Wayne to Lil Wayne.
Comparing Lil Wayne to Lil Wayne. Now comparing Lil Wayne to Lil Wayne, he's in, I guess. And I mean, I think he's in the best form that we could hope that he would be in
currently.
Yeah, given what he's been through. Because to be honest with you, we was just we all hoping he don't kick it. Like that's really what it is. As long as he ain't dead, we happy. Like it's a little difficult with that one with Wayne because Wayne been through a lot. Seems like.
And he been sipping syrup and been talking about sipping syrup and you know not just that, but I mean so many other things.
He's been the life
for a long
syrup,
time.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of rappers sip syrup because of Wayne. Like you know what I'm saying?
Rest in peace, Pimp C, man. That's perfect time to say that.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Now would that make you guys nervous that X-Tentacion is on the album? On that if you're thinking about it.
No, not really, because when you think about X, he was shot.
Yeah,
so it's a little different, and you know, no knocks against Wayne, but you know, and I don't think that he is intentionally, you know, riding a wave, but there are a lot of new X fans who previously were not fans of his music before his passing. You know, rest in peace. And so, in having him featured on the album, it's going to draw a lot of listeners.
Now, I do think that was a portion of it. I think another thing, I think that it works, and the reason why it feels acceptable to the frequency is the fact that it did have some genuineness to it. Because my thing is, I'm 24 24, almost 25 now. If X was like, I want to say he was 20 when he passed, so he would probably been like 19 or so when he would have been meeting Wayne. My thing is, that's probably somebody who looked up to Wayne, you know what I'm saying, and is trying to get that feature and managed to get that feature, you know what I'm saying? In my perspective of it, it could be something different.
But that's a good way to look at it. I didn't think about it.
My thing, that's the way that I kind of took it as, is that it's because Wayne is basically a lot of other rappers, like a lot.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of us are,
especially mainstream.
Wayne, bro. A lot of us are influenced by Wayne. It just is what it is, and it's not like a knock to anybody. It just, you know, I mean,
if anything, it's more so applied to what he's done.
Yeah, and that's the way that it's supposed to be. It's art, like, you know what I'm saying. You got to see somebody color with the crayons first, so you know how to use them. Like,
exactly.
It just is what it is.
In which he had to do the same thing. You know, it was others before him, but as far as right now, who's doing it 20 plus years in the game, you gotta take your hat off to him. Yeah. If that's what you're aspiring for, if that's what you want, that's what
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Because I mean, it looked like the business side of things might have been getting a little shaky at one point, but at the same time, when you're Wayne, you get exactly what people was expecting, but also what you see maybe when you don't completely understand how the legal system works.
Now, in Wayne's defense, now,
he had
Baby
money
been
to
stealing money since the 99 to 2000. And he
ain't
knew to this, he true to this. You know what I'm saying?
My thing
so
is,
he was taking BG and Juven money. He was taking the Hot Boys money. And this ain't nothing new. It was just no, and I ain't mean to talk. I'll talk to you and talk over you, but it's just a thing of, I think with everything happening the way it happened with Hot Boys and you know, Juvenile and BG stepping out, if you are old enough to remember, or if you know about when they stepped away from Cash Money Records and why they stepped away from Cash Money Records, because it was the exact same thing. It was a thing of them saying Birdman owed them money that they never seen and they never got, but they know Birdman got the money and he just ain't cut the check, so they wasn't finna continue to do work for him and they not get paid their money, and I don't think they was wrong for that. But it was Lil Wayne who stayed, you know what I'm saying? And so Lil Wayne ended up being the one who blew because everything was invested, you know, in him. And again, he grew up watching BG. He grew up watching Juvie. No. And I'm not taking that away from him at all. I was gonna say, and taking, you know, as being a young man watching, you know, and they were young men too. But you gotta think he a jit watching these teenagers do this.
Yeah, you right.
So you know what I'm saying? He seen their swag. He seen how they put it down. So he took that, ran with it, and that's what he said. Hey, he put Cash Money Young Money
the same way
on his back.
Doing, you know what I'm saying? With Wayne. Yeah.
Exactly. He put that Cash Money junk on his back. And he carried it, and it was him who took off. And it took, you know, 3 albums before a Carter. The Carter is, and that's why we are having this conversation about the Carter, because the Carter is what Lil Wayne became Lil fucking Wayne. Weezy F Baby, you know? And that was the takeoff point. That's when, you know, the plane had left the you know, the landing or the airstrip. It actually had some wing up under his some air up under his wings. So I do think that when we look at Wayne, you're looking at Wayne from different eras, but he was very much influenced by the Hot Boys, Juvie and BG, and what they did from that beginning. And I think he also, you know, he looked back on that. He reflects to that. I think that's why he may have been hurt more so that Birdman was doing that to him and taking his money, because Wayne remembers all of that. And he was like, okay, I put Cash Money on my back. I made it what it was. And even with me and doing all this changing and all this growing, I made the bulk of the money. And you gonna do me like that too? When I know that you a thief, you ain't even gonna, be just and righteous with me, dog. And I made you really all your bang for your buck. It came from Wayne. Yeah, Hot Boy money was good, but Wayne money much longer and better as far as the amount of money he's brought into the record.
And that's exactly what I was getting at the part when I was like, it's dope. It's dope the fact that he has enough money to be able to maneuver through that, and even like
it's just sad he wasn't seeing it, but he was making it. He was making it.
Great for in comparison to other people, but the thing is, it does kind of. I don't want to speculate about it too much, just because again it is still speculation.
Absolutely.
But it does. It's but and then to play slight devil's advocate a little bit, Birdman does also talk about the fact of him not knowing a lot of the business as he was getting into it, and I can, you can attest to that. Like it's difficult, like when nobody show you really what it is going into it, and you see that in like any business across the board. Like anybody that's like second, third generation into it, usually be doing better than the people who just get into it. You know what I'm saying? Like
there's much more to be learned.
So I don't know. That was just a little weird, but I guess where we next.
Oh yeah, no. Y'all did pretty good. Before we left the feature conversation, I did want to, I like the singer, so I did have to shout out. Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, wait, hold on now.
See now everybody wakes up. So hang on,
wrap it up with like just a couple, just like
so
one or two.
With the features, I did want to talk about the fact that he had Ashanti and Nivea on the album. And the reason why I want to point those out is because the song and I think Reese is going to elaborate a little bit more on that too. The song with Ashanti, it really has a 2000s feel. Like it sounds like something that would have came out in the height of Murder Inc. So for him to be able to actually, but for him to be able to capture, capture that sound on there, that was really nice. And the fact that he has Nivea on there, Nivea is one of his baby mamas. And I've always known that. That's one thing I've always known about Wayne is that, he's one of his baby mamas. I like Nivea as far as her music, back in the day. So I think it's kind of cool to and I think now, complete side note, but I've seen that she's actually starting to come back and forth with the music because she was saying, of course, she was thinking about the kids beforehand. So I do like the fact that, she's on the album. Y'all wanted to add more about the features before we go to our last question?
A small point, like with the features, I didn't really expect the features that we got, which was dope. I like pretty much all of them, I want to say. It was a little, going back to the Nicki Minaj thing. My thing is, I like the song when I first listened to it. I think it's an interesting concept that they're playing on that may not. It's a little conspiracy theorist, so if you're not necessarily on that wave or thinking along those lines, it might not necessarily touch you in any type of way. I'm interested to see if any like videos or anything would come out of it, but it could just be kind of like a throwback to their cutesier days on. Oh, see, now they did have a hot moment on Rebirth. That knockout song, which I guess was sort of hot. It was
Yeah, it was kind of hot.
Yeah,
I remember that song.
Yeah.
It was a single.
Like a throwback to that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know. That one was a little. I get where it's coming from. They're just, I guess, at different points in their career now, so it might just be taking a little different.
True. As far as the features for me, it's interesting that he has, I ain't gonna say this many, because it's 10 people featured on it in total.
I ain't pay attention to that.
Yeah, it's 10 people featured on it in total.
You never really,
of 23 tracks. So, most of the tracks he's on.
I don't mean to cut you off, but
and that's what I was gonna say. That's about normal. As far as, but see, you gotta think. Carter 3, that's when Wayne really began putting features on Carter. Other than Jazzy Faye being on, the track in the Carter 2, and probably there's a reggae artist on the Carter 2, some singers, but for the most part, Carter 1 and Carter 2 in whole is Lil Wayne. Carter 3 is when he began to, include people. You get your Jay-Z with your Mr. Carter. You start getting, you get Babyface with Shake You Up. I believe that's the name of the song. But that's when you start getting features on the Carters. Carter 4 is full of features. I ain't gonna say full, but I know the outro had features.
Well, see, and then the mixtapes had features too. That was
but that's I mean we're saying
that, which is a nice blend. Oh, that was another thing we were talking about too. It's dope that this album also has a mixtape feel to it, which it's been difficult for us to get that out of a Lil Wayne album. Like, I don't necessarily know if he'd been able to kind of marry those two things up until now, and I wonder. Part of me wonders if it's just because of the times that we're in. You know what I'm saying? That everything kind of has like an album, a particular sound. Can finally have a mixtape feel
and be considered the album still.
Couldn't. One, because so much more money was put into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we just at a different place in music right now. Like,
right, and what's considered to be acceptable for a mixtape, an EP, and an album.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And those differentiations and blurred lines.
Yeah.
But, you got 10 features. Of those features, I would say, Nicki, Reginae, Mac Main, Nivea. So that's 4. That's home team. You know what I'm saying? Nicki, Young Money, Cash Money. Well, Young Money now, no more Cash Money. Reginae, his seed. Mac Main, Young Money, one of the OGs in Young Money, if you know the history. And then Nivea, you know what I'm saying? Then, you got K-Dot, which is an excellent addition to anybody album. Travis Scott, on his particular track, I guess I could understand why Lil Wayne would, invite Travis to be on his album if you're looking at, and it really took for us to have a off, air conversation to kind of bring it home for me. Travis, you can say, is a little influence of the sound of the new Wayne, not an older Wayne, but a newer Wayne. And on that particular track that he's on, I could, you hear him on it. It's not like it's one of those things where you're like, oh man, he forced himself to be on it, let it fly. Nah, that wasn't the case at all. So in seeing that influence, I can see why he made the album. We said X, and another off-air conversation we were having. I'm not a fan of X. Not saying that I've heard his music to say that, I don't like it. It's just that I haven't heard anything. And that's probably something I should go and do. But from what I have been told and what's been shared to me, the music was almost release for him. He was venting. He was letting go and sharing a lot of things. And if that was or seemed to be depressing music, quote unquote, and that's just what it was. He was just sharing and being, I guess, an artist. And in that particular song with that particular hook, which I wasn't a fan of the hook. I'll say that I like the verses, but I wasn't really a fan of the hook. And I think that was more so a thing of you either liked it or you didn't like it. And I think if you were a fan of X and you knew what to expect, you did like it, because you've heard some things from him. But again, this is coming from a person who hasn't heard any music from him. It's just not something that caught my ear. It was like, oh yeah, that's a good hook. So I could see why he made, the album as a feature with the overall theme of the album. Like bruh said, Ashanti and Mac Main, the song that they're on, start this shit off right. It definitely feels like a Carter 1, Carter 2 vibe. I cannot knock that. It sounds like, and it's funny because he's talking about murder. He took it back, boy.
Yeah, and the fact that you said that he's old school Young Money.
Yeah,
and that connects to
absolutely.
Me, it's like, oh, okay, well, brings it all the way home.
Absolutely.
That would mean that,
He actually is one of the first artists that Wayne signed to Young Money,
okay.
Mac Main. And then Nivea, with that dope new gospel, man. I enjoyed some of the older projects that he and Nivea did together when they first was quote unquote messing around, For example, that Feeling Me, that was back in the OG. For me, when he was calling himself Weezy, that was a dope joint. I enjoyed that one. So to not only see that she made the album, but to hear the song, the track in itself, the track in and of itself is dope. I like it. So to hear Wayne and Nivea doing something together again on a dope track, for me, that was like, oh, you know, I feel like a teenager again. I know it's gonna be live. I know it's gonna be lit. I can't wait to hear it. And it didn't fail. It didn't fail to impress. I would put it, for my personal opinion, one of the top 5 tracks of the album.
And it's at the bottom.
Yeah, of my personal opinion. But again, I like when Nivea and Wayne do things together. Okay. So that would, you know, kind of put it up there for me. As far as the features are concerned, as far as, you know, Snoop being on there.
Yeah, I like the Snoop.
And he didn't even,
I like that.
He didn't even, you know, do anything too tough. But it was more so like paying homage to the big OG. Because you got to think, of all the features, he is the only OG on there, other than Wayne.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's paying homage to the big OG. You know, I can't say that any of the features were there kind of purposeless. Yeah, he is. Yeah, but he ain't no Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, no,
you know
I was just, you know. But now the only about the K-Dot feature, what I did like, because the only other one that I've seen, and I might be wrong here, correct me if I'm wrong, the only one that I've seen of this length that was a feature on somebody else's album was the No More Parties in LA. But that was at the end of Kanye's album. It's interesting to see a feature this long at the beginning of the album, and it still rips pretty hard.
Yeah, because it was the 8th track.
Yeah.
It was the 8th track.
It's at the front of it. So yeah, that was nice. I like the fact that can still kind of. And don't get me wrong, even on, we're not really talking about that album, but on that album, the K-Dot feature still was strong. It was dope, and it moved the energy along. But it was just nice to see it play so early.
Yeah, and then as far as albums are concerned, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think I can agree with that. Once again, fans, y'all are who are still tuned in, the ToniApproved, perfect time. Drop them answers in them comments. Yeah, leave it in the comments. You know what I'm saying? It's a vibe. Show Tony you fuck with your boy. You know what I'm saying? Drop it in the comments. Correct us if we wrong.
Definitely
We'd love to
appreciate
see your feedback,
it. Definitely. Okay, you guys, we're gonna drive it home with this last question right here. Yes. You guys can add. You can add anything else you want to add afterwards. But I want to just know from you guys, based off of this album, are you guys looking forward to another Carter album? And from what I've heard from other people that have made comments on the album, some people have said that they feel like this album was more of a way for Wayne to kind of say, okay, he's back and they're ready to see what he does next, because this is kind of like a test the waters, let everybody know that everything good, and then the next album might be that jump off, might be that album with 17 tracks and 14 of the 17 you can't live without, something along those lines, or maybe hard.
See, it's confusing for me to be like Wayne, like is coming back, because
he ain't went nowhere.
Yeah, like even when Wayne couldn't make music, he was still
Wayne
in the culture. Yeah, I don't know, because again, like this one has a mixtape feel for me, because I was still listening to like No Ceilings too, and was it Dedication 6 or 7 that was dropped? I want to say it was 6. But my thing is, some of the round hitters and what's your one after hitters?
After hitters, you're looking at Took His Time. Which is a vibe.
Yeah, around that time right there is where it kind of started feeling like the recent mixtape Wayne. So my thing is yes, I'm interested in seeing what he's gonna do next. Does it have to be a Carter? I don't know, but at the other portion, I do kind of want another. I wouldn't be not here for another Carter if that's how life blesses us. But at the same time, I wouldn't want like a Carter because we just trying to get to number 6. I would want number 6 if number 6 needs to come along.
And
but even if it's not a Carter next, if it's just another album, are y'all looking forward to the next one?
I mean, personally, me, I've pretty much listened to.
Well, here, let me frame it up a little bit closer. Did the Carter 5, especially since he's been, I know he released another project a couple months ago, so he's been releasing music throughout the time of not being able to release the Carter 5. But the Carter 5 itself, does it give you the feel of wanting something else?
Yeah, and from album Wayne, also, I think that also goes into the length, and that's one thing we got to talk about. He was gone for a minute as far as the album, so that does explain why the album does need to be a far as just enjoying the album, yeah, I'm down for that. Looking forward to more stuff, down for that. Looking forward to another Carter, not if it has an impact for it. Like, it needs to get better from here. That's my only thing, because it's right now, again, it's gotten better from here with Carter 4 just being a question mark.
Right. and that's the thing. That's the thing. Honestly, when as far as the question, when we look at if I'm excited for, things to come, I guess the way I would answer that, and being a Wayne fan again, I'm gonna listen to it because it's Wayne.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot my shot.
See, I'm
gonna
fans for you because I feel them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna listen to it and then I'm gonna give my honest opinion.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna listen to it and I'm gonna give my honest opinion and say, okay, that was worth my time. Man, I wish he wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Well, wow.
Yeah.
Before you get to, and that's the thing. Like, I think that Wayne can at least enjoy it from his, and it shows you like why it's so important to create a fan base. Because even with like your stuff that's not that great, if you actually have a fan base, they'll listen to it and try to find some good pieces.
Yeah.
Before they just be like,
let us down.
Let me just put this in a napkin.
You know what? That just made me. Well, I'll say that later. You just made me realize something about another artist. Like, that's maybe the real reason why I'm always so hard. Cause like at the core, it's a fan, and you just keep disappointing. Just keep disappointing.
Yeah, and the thing is with Wayne, when he got a hit, he got a hit. When he got a miss, he kind of be like, dang, bro, you missed the whole mark. But I'm looking forward to the next Wayne project, whatever it may be, whether it's an album, whether it's a mixtape, whether it's just a single. I definitely, after hearing this, expect for him to drop more dopage.
Yeah.
Because it lets me know that it's still there. He can produce quality as well as quantity. But within that quantity, you're gonna get something, even if it's a single, you get tired of hearing it, it becomes played out. You're gonna get something. He's gonna leave you with something. I do think that when we look at sheer body of work and all aspects of it, he's done enough for the fans, for those who already have their ear, towards him. He's done enough to at least give him the benefit of the doubt. He's done enough to at least say, okay, I'll take a listen. But as far as the Carter 5 is concerned, in and of itself as a body of work, yes, I would listen to the next project, whatever it may be, because this one delivered.
Yeah.
This one delivered.
All right, you guys, I want to thank y'all so much for joining me on this episode. This was actually important for me because I like to show real well-roundedness, and I know the Carter 5 is going to be something that's cemented in the culture, and I knew that I couldn't give the proper dissection of the album and give proper opinions on it. So I really do appreciate y'all for being here. Hopefully y'all will make sure y'all stop by with any other things that Wayne has coming out or different stuff they have going on.
Again, I appreciate the invite, man. It's you know what I'm saying, again, and being a viewer and being on the other side of the TV, not TV, Lord, computer screen. Charging to my head, not my heart. And being on the other side of the computer screen and being in internet land. And being a fan of ToniApproved, to get that call saying, hey, I want you on this side of the mic to be delivering to the fans. So it's going to be real weird to go and listen to my voice and have to hear my own opinion. You might see me in the comments like, nah, nigga, you got that. But yeah, it definitely was something I didn't take lightly, and I really appreciate it coming from a bro. Definitely.
All right, you guys, as I always say, thank you guys so much for tuning in. You made it this far. I always save it to the end. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Drop that like button as well.
Yes, sir.
I really definitely appreciate that.
Do it for the culture.
For the culture,
For the culture, people.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man, that's funny. All right, y'all, be blessed.